Hey everybody, I am back with more action from CALLOUS Crew Challenge, Round 1, also known as Round of 16. You haven't seen either of these teams play before. It is the first match in their set. It is BIHI representing team the Cherk alongside Blargle, Fargle, and Leo. And then Poek, on the other hand, has teamed up with Blunder and with AIM to form Cabron. This is RBY, which I haven't narrated in quite some time. I want to say years, but who knows? It all kind of blurs together. But I don't narrate RBY too often. I do really truly enjoy the tier and think it's more skill intensive than people give it credit for. But I can also see the arguments where a lot of just complete nonsense robberies happen in this tier as well. That's also true. Either way, this is an important set. Gonna kick one of their teams off to a good start. According to you guys and our predictions in the Discord server, which you can join, link in the description by the way, BIHI, overwhelmingly the majority, like 4-1 of you guys, think that BIHI is going to win. And he beat Troller in RBY. In SPL, it was either finals or finals tiebreaker or both. I think it was the breaker. So if he's doing that, he can obviously play the tier. Poek, I honestly couldn't tell you what his level is in this tier, one way or another. I truly don't know. I'm going to assume that he can play it, and I'm looking forward to hopefully a good set with hacks within reason, keeping in mind that it's RBY. Alright, here we go. So BIHI's on the bottom, Poek's on the top. They both lead Starmie, super duper common, and they're going to make different choices immediately. T-Bolt and T-Wave respectively, critical hit for BIHI. Para does not deter him, and he gets the kill. Early lead for BIHI. Lax comes in, and Chansey is a relatively common switch in, as is its counterpart, another Lax. Body Slam, keep in mind, in this gen cannot paralyze other normal types, so Chansey at least doesn't have to worry about that. And that's an unlucky miss for Poek on the 75% Sleep Powder. However, good prediction, gets a Mega Drain off, Mega because Giga Drain does not yet exist, and Mega Drain there is going to snipe the Starmie and basically even up the game, save for the fact that the Executor is still paralyzed from before. It lands Sleep Powder though. BIHI stays in there, goes for Ice Beam, decent chunk, a third, but Chansey takes a nap, and that's got to be pretty good for Poek. So we've got Body Slam and Reflect. Reflect, very standard on Lax these days. There was a time where Reflect Chansey was popular, but that has really fallen by the wayside. Reflect Lax, very much the norm in the modern RBY meta. S-Toss, very unexciting. And of course, as I say that Reflect Chansey is quite uncommon, here's Poek using Reflect Chansey. Now Tauros coming in, finds himself against Cloyster. Cloyster generally matches up well against Tauros. Unfortunately, it's a Blizzard miss for Cloyster. And he's going to eat a big Psychic back, a crit in fact, but he just goes for Boom, negates all that nonsense, and the Cloyster and the Zam are going to trade. Psychic there, could have boomed, still might, but no, never going to get the chance. Last move, Hyper Beam, is going to take out the eggs, and BIHI pulls into the lead once again. Reflect, as long as he doesn't get crit, he's fine, and he doesn't, and he gets the rest off, so Lax is back to safe. Body Slam, which not exciting through the Reflect, 13 and then 15%. Here's another Body Slam, 13%. Again, normals can't paralyze normals with Body Slam, so Lax doesn't ever have to worry about that. And there is a failed counter for Poek. So he now is going to go back to Chansey and set up Reflect and try to deal with the Lax that way. BIHI sees the opportunity to kill some sleep turns with his own Chansey, so he does exactly that. But he doubles back to Jolteon, anticipating Tauros, which is correct, and in doing so, BIHI guarantees that he can force a T-Wave on something, ends up being the Chansey. Good play there for BIHI, anticipating that, setting up that little sequence, gives himself the T-Wave advantage, which very well could matter if this goes to a later game. Lax on Lax, key difference, one has Reflect, one doesn't. Counter there is huge. And this speed tie is also huge, but BIHI's the winner. He's not ready to give up his 5% Lax, but he gets Body Slammed crit and loses his Chansey. We end up in the all too common Bull Mirror match, as we tend to see in this tier. Poek knows he's behind, and he's fishing for blizzard freezes, but he doesn't get that either. Now we've got probably a speed tie for hyper beams, and Tauros does win the tie for Poek because BIHI didn't stay in. However, he doesn't get the hyper beam crit that he's looking for. Jolteon survives, and now Poek is probably in some trouble, especially that this 5% lax that looked dead to rights has managed to get in and get itself all the way back up to full. Great sequence for BIHI, devastating turn of events for Poek. BIHI looks very likely to win this game 1. There's S-Toss on the Jolteon. Kills the sleep turn. S-Toss again. 30%. Now it wakes. And now it's paralyzed. Poek's going to have to get some lucky full paras here. And there's one. Maybe he can do it again. Tauros with an opportunity to get some crits. There's a 35% crit on the Lax. However, Hyper Beam gets its 3rd kill of the game. Lax taking names for BIHI. Poek has only the Chansey. And this looks as good as over. BIHI very likely to win. Poek would need some serious freezes or full para nonsense to somehow get out of this. Starting with a T-Wave. It doesn't even have Ice Beam. Yeah, so he's going to need a lot of full para nonsense to get out of this. It's going to take a long time to kill this Lax, and he only has so much PP for S-Toss. BIHI wisely, not even chancing it, just going to rest at the very first opportunity. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and speed this up to hyper fast because it seems basically inevitable that BIHI wins this. Poek probably going to go through the motions, as he should in a tournament game with hundreds of dollars on the line. Prize pool at the time of this narration, over $900, which is good for over $300 per member of the winning team. Very cool. Appreciate all the generous donations. Has been a fantastic turnout as far as donations so far. Wildly has exceeded my expectations, especially with a brand new tour that I didn't know if you guys were going to like it or how it was going to do. So I really appreciate you guys. And as expected, going through the motions, BIHI does manage to finish this one off. So he's going to be up a game. He's representing the Cherk, like I said, alongside Blargle, Fargle, and Leo. Poek with his teammates Aim and Blunder, looking to rally back and take Game 2 to force a Game 3 and see what happens there. Up to this point, we haven't actually had a single set go to a Game 3. Every single set up till now has been a 2-0. Will this be the one to break the trend, or will it be another 2-0 victory? And yeah, and we're done here. BIHI on the bottom, Poek on the top, and just like last time, they have the exact same poke. They both have Jinx, and they both miss Lovely Kiss. Poek wins the speed tie the second time and connects, and that's going to prompt him to go to Lax. Last time they both led Starmie, this time they both led me. Lax into another Lax is very common. Reflect, sure, down to 60%. And Chansey comes in at this point, knowing it has nothing to fear from Body Slam, and also knowing that Lax is likely to rest. So BIHI does take a nap, and now a couple Thunderbolts are coming down. Not that exciting, though. There's an Ice Beam fishing for a freeze, which doesn't come. Body Slam for 38%. Jinx in at this point. That eats a Body Slam and gets paralyzed. Very poor for Poek. Has to get out of there. Now Chansey comes in. That risks dying to a crit, which doesn't come. But Lax keeping up the offensive pressure here, just fishing for a crit, which, yeah, I mean, in this gen, crits are everywhere. Could come at any time. But BIHI takes his foot off the gas and opts to rest instead, which I think was a wise play. Fished for it a few times, didn't come, got the rest off, played it safe. Here's another freeze attempt with Ice Beam, doesn't come. And BIHI back on the offensive with the Body Slams. And there is a crit for 86%, so now going to be multiple turns in a row. Yep, Hyper Beam is good enough. Poek doesn't call that out. Articuno, a very uncommon poke. Busting out the legendary bird down a game, trying to start his team off on the right foot, and there you go. Gets an insta Ice Beam freeze on Chansey, exactly what he would have been looking for. Gets the freeze that he wants, and Poek has basically tied the game. It's a 6-5, but it's basically a 5-5 with that perma-frozen Chansey. I'm sure if you guys are interested in RBY content and you're watching this, you already know. But just in case somebody doesn't, Pokemon never, ever, ever thaw in RBY. The only way is with Haze, which is like an unmove that only like Golbat learns. It's not a thing. For all intents and purposes, when a Poke freezes, it'll never thaw. And yeah, that Chansey of BIHI's is dead to rights. Not to miss the fact that Snorlax there missed a Hyper Beam against Tauros on the other end and got killed. So that gives Poek now effectively a lead, even though it is 5-5, air quotes. And that crit certainly helps, though he does take Bull out. Articuno comes in, and Frozen Chansey ready to fodder itself. The Ice Beams don't do a lot of damage, just 17%, but the Chansey can't do anything back, and it will slowly but surely get picked off. Articuno gets an agility off just for good measure, negate the speed drop part if it gets hit with a T-Wave later on, which it totally can. And Chansey dies, so we've got ourselves a 4-4. Blizzard fishing for a crit or a freeze gets neither. Body Slam gets both a crit and a para. It's exactly where BIHI wants to be, but because of the agility, the Articuno is effectively not paralyzed here, minus the chance of a possible full para, of course. And it is a long nap for Jinx. Agility number 2, Ice Beam with a crit, and Jinx remains asleep. And full powers never kick in with the Articuno. This thing is working overtime. It has killed 2 Pokes, frozen another, make that 3 Pokes, insta-blizzard, one-hit KO. Only salvation is a full para finally, but Articuno, the Unmon that nobody uses in this tier, not even a top 10 or top 12 Mon in this very limited tier, is doing major work for Poek here. BIHI finds himself back against the wall. 2 Mons only against 4 for Poek, and this matchup, Slowbro against Zapdos, he can't feel good about. Yes, Amnesia makes him bulky, but man, he's 1 crit Thunderbolt away from hating his life. And Zapdos with a high base speed has a very high chance to get it. And there it is. Slowbro down, and BIHI not happy. He is going to concede Kek GG in the comments. Not thrilled about the way that one went. Poek got a lot of breaks in that one, certainly. And that's going to send us to our first Game 3 of the tournament. BIHI representing the Cherk against Poek for El Cabron, the 3rd and final game. This is not an elimination match. Like I said, it is the first match in their series, so even if a team is to lose here, which one of them will, they will not be eliminated just yet. But you obviously want to start your series off 1-0 when there's only 3 matches rather than down 0-1. Take some pressure off your teammates, all that good stuff. So here we go, 3rd and final game. BIHI once again on the bottom, Poek once again on the top. Let's settle this. Do we have mirror leads again? No. For the first time in the set, they have made different choices. It is a Zam and a Starmie, respectively, and it's Poek coming out aggressive with the T-Wave. He does get his Starmie put to sleep via the Eggs Sleep Powder, however. Psychic happens through Para, doesn't do a lot, doesn't get a drop. We end up with Chansey on Chansey, T-Wave, and T-Wave, respectively. Both of them paralyzed, can no longer be frozen. Chansey's generally not much of a threat to each other than the ability to freeze each other, so this is very likely going to go a whole lot of nowhere, but you want to be careful switching into Chansey because you don't want to get something else randomly hit with a T-Wave, or even worse, frozen with Ice Beam. So it's a little awkward to try to figure out when you should switch, at what point you're comfortable with your health, and you don't necessarily have to be full and you can get out of there. This is kind of one of the weirder, crappier parts of RBY, but they will at some point switch out, and the game will move along. See, there's T-Wave. That wasn't a misclick or anything. That was just predicting this is the turn that you're going to switch. Let me try to catch something. We go back to Chansey here, and yep, a couple T-Waves later. The other thing that he's doing is he's preserving offensive PP because he knows he's never going to kill the other Chansey. Para, Starmie again, which obviously isn't going to care about T-Wave since it is sleeping. It does kill a sleep turn and is punished for doing so, 46% T-Bolt. And finally, BIHI breaks the cycle. He gets Lax in on Chansey. 38% body slam, but he does get T-Wave back, and there is soft boiled for Chansey. BIHI has opted for a Hyper Beam Lax in both of the previous games, but he switches it up this time, and he's got Earthquake. And good thing, too, because once again, Poek has opted for counter, but blanks on it just as he did in the previous game, or game 1 rather, where he does not predict correctly and does not counter anything back. Eggs is going to get a Psychic off and a drop. That one obviously does more after the drop, and he's going to get another drop. Chansey back up to healthy, but the Psychic's really starting to hurt now, doing about a third. But Chansey through Para gets a T-Wave off. End up eggs on eggs here. Critical hit there for Poek. Back to Chansey again. Double edge, big damage, 33%. Chansey in real danger now. And now Lax comes in. That eats a double edge for 20%. And there's a boom. Poek got a lot of value out of that eggs. He did a lot of damage there, and he killed the Lax. That was a very effective Executor. That's lucky for BIHI. He gets a T-Wave off on Zapdos. Thunderbolt was probably coming, and it would have knocked that Starmie into next week. But full Para comes exactly when it needs to. So it keeps us at 5-5 with a double Para turn here. Unrevealed in the back for BIHI is obviously Tauros. One of the unreveals for Poek is obviously Tauros, and the other one's going to be Lax. So for all intents and purposes, we know the teams here. Zapdos knocks out Zam here and gets a Drill Peck off and nearly kills Executor, but it survives and gets Psychic off through Para, kills the Zap, brings us to a brief tie at 4-4, but the faster Lax, thanks to Para, gets revenge, puts Poek in the lead at 4-3, and now Starmie coming down for BIHI, trying to fight off the Chansey, but this is not a matchup where the Starmie without Psychic Specs drops is gonna get too far. BIHI does get his weakened Chansey in and manages to get a soft-boiled off through Para. Hyper Beam there does a ton, and full Para kicks in, but crucially it doesn't kill. Desperation T-Wave for BIHI, knowing that a Hyper Beam here is coming and will kill should it connect, and it does, and that puts BIHI in a bad spot, down 2-4. Both players with fresh 100% bulls. Really needs full Para here, but doesn't get it. And now Tauros is going to have to come in clutch. Luck and or great predictions going to be required. Body Slam there killing Starmie is a good start, but we end up in the all too common bull on bull mirror match. Slam Slam. Slam Blizzard. And now Poek, the one who wins the speed tie with the Hyper Beam. That's going to put Poek in dominating position. BIHI really needed that speed tie to go his way if he wanted any chance to win this game. We have a soft-boiled fail because of the weird 1 and 256, but it doesn't actually matter here. Pending a really bad string of full Para, which does not come, Poek can simply blow up and win the game, and that is what he does. He's going to hit self-destruct. 1 and 256 miss does not occur. Starmie goes down, and Poek with one Mon standing, the bull, is going to be the winner. He's going to come back after dropping game 1, win the set 2-1. Much to the surprise of my voting audience, like I said, you guys by a 3 or 4-1 majority thought that BIHI would be the winner here. But the winner is Poek of El Cabron, meaning one of his teammates' blunder or aim can send them through to the round of 8, whereas BIHI is going to need both of his teammates, Blargle, Fargle, and Leo, respectively, to win their matches. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I don't narrate RBY too often. Like I said, I do enjoy the tier, though I'm certainly not an expert at it. But if you guys did enjoy the content, or if you are enjoying the tour as a whole, I would love a thumbs up on this video. Certainly feel free to leave a comment. And of course, I have to remind you guys, if you want to join the channel, link in description. You want to donate, strictly optional, you can do that. Build up the prize pool. No obligation to do so, but appreciate it if you do. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys for lots more CALLOUS Crew Challenge content coming soon.